Hello, everyone. I am Regina Sun, and welcome to today's Legal Moments. I am an attorney here in Atlanta, Georgia, and the topic for today is the Florida welfare drug testing law. This was recently blocked by a federal judge in Florida, and she essentially stated that she believes that at some point after reviewing the statute, it may be held unconstitutional because of Fourth Amendment rights. And just to briefly go over what the statute says, it essentially requires all applicants for federal welfare benefits to submit to drug testing in accordance with the the Florida statute. And if you're unaware, some of these benefits, and the benefits at least in question, they're federal benefits, but they're given to states, and the states can kind of delegate how they go about administering the benefits to the citizens. And in this situation, Florida decided that they wanted to make future or potential recipients undergo drug testing before being able to receive benefits. And the case that was actually reviewed back in October, this judge pretty much decided that, first of all, it is a search to require someone to submit to a drug test because you are to some degree going into or invading some part of their body to extract information or whatnot related to whatever it is that they're doing, and in this case drugs, and within their system. And then it was also, she also stated that the fact that someone isn't required to forced to do it, in other words they are consenting to do it, doesn't necessarily make a difference because you're denying them benefits, particularly federal benefits, in order for them to undergo this procedure. And so and the harm is that they will not be able to receive benefits that are offered to them through the federal government because they are refusing to be drug tested. And one of the many issues that, or one of the many debates that have come into play, is whether or not a lot of taxpayers, particularly in Florida, obviously are saying we want to have some degree of control as to how our tax-paying money is being administered into welfare recipients. So I have here with me JR, and I want to know your thoughts. I mean, do you think that this state should be allowed to delegate or dictate how how these federal benefits are being administered to welfare recipients in terms of drug testing?
Yes, I certainly think that they should be able to dictate in how this money is being spent on welfare recipients, especially knowing what's going on in the economy and in the world today. And we're trying to save money as much as possible. At the same time, we do not want to contribute to somebody's habit if they're doing drugs.
Well, again, it's interesting that you say that because in the case, the judge analyzed this study that was conducted in Florida back in 2000, where they took a portion or a group of welfare recipients and had them undergo drug testing. And it was just a case study, so they weren't going to be denied or permitted benefits based on it, but they wanted to see if in fact a lot of welfare recipients were on drugs. And it turns out less than 5% of the people that were tested were using drugs. And at that point they used that to decide that the statute wasn't, I guess, important at that time because it would not have benefited or would not have gained anything since most of the people on welfare were not using drugs. So now if that's the case, then your point of making sure money isn't being expensed to promote or endorse a drug addiction isn't the case.
Well, I don't think that case study is very effective, especially if I can participate in a case study knowing that there's going to be no repercussions behind it. Number one, if I am doing drugs, I would take the test because I know there's no repercussions. And or if I know that I'm doing drugs, I can stop before I do the case study. And there's so many ways that number can be manipulated. So I can't really agree with that.
But
percentage.
again, you know you're about to apply for welfare benefits. And the statute, it's clear. You got to undergo this drug testing. So you know ahead of time that you're about to take a drug test before you can receive benefits. To me, that notice is enough for you to abstain from drugs, take the test, and then get your benefits.
That's a possibility. Now, if you're having periodic drug testing when renewing your benefit, you could possibly slip up.
But here, we're not talking about periodic drug testing. We're talking about the initial receipt of benefits.
Well, I know the initial receipt. Now, when you're trying to, reestablish your benefits again, if they run out, you may be on drugs during that time. And, if you are, it could catch up to you.
So let's say you are reestablishing later on, even though, this case did focus on the initial. Let's say, for the sake of your hypothetical, later on you're trying to establish, and during that meantime you have a job. Unfortunately, it's not making the amount of money that you need it to make to be able to sustain your standard of living, but you're still contributing to the society, you're being productive, you're trying, you've got kids. The study revealed that drug users are no more or less productive in the workforce as people who don't use drugs. So that is in no way affecting your ability to go through the program and do whatever it is that the program is designed to do. So if that is the case, why are we searching this person's body if the end result doesn't matter?
Well, the end result may not matter, but I'm just saying, I do not want to contribute to someone's habit. If you're on welfare and you're being on welfare, that means you're someone who's having a need. And if you're doing drugs, that's not a need.
But when you're talking about contributing to someone's habit, we are constantly paying for people who don't have. You talk about healthcare. We're contributing to, obesity is a big problem, and people aren't taking care of themselves. And if they don't have the means to later handle some kind of medical situation that comes up, we pay for it regardless of whether we want to or not. So, it's interesting that you say that, because it seems like, particularly with these debates going on, so many people have this selfish mentality of, I don't want to do this for someone else, or I don't want to pay for this for someone else unless I can dictate how that person goes about their life, spends the money, or whatnot. Why aren't we giving and letting that be, just okay with us, and the rest be out of our concern?
Well, when you think about all that, you have a visual, and your visual is you're seeing someone that's on welfare. They probably get a benefit check of, we'll say, $300 a week. If you're getting a $300 check a week and you're spending it all on marijuana or any type of drug, and then the next week you're coming back to get another check, is that contributing to your welfare?
But again, you're assuming that they are spending. I think the case did say some families would get $100 something if it was single, and then they had four, about $365 a month, which I think we can fairly say that's not a lot of money. But again, if back in your scenario, if say this person is a drug user, but he's got a job, it's just not, unfortunately, not making as much money as it needs to make, and he's got these kids, you're saying, well, yeah, you're trying, but I feel like you're still wasting my money because every now and then you have drugs in your system. Well, you're putting that whole family at risk of, again, us supporting them and through another means.
Well, he's putting his whole family at risk as well. If he's employed with a company and he gets into an accident,
he is.
He's going to be required to take a drug test.
Your concern isn't what he's doing in terms of his family. Your concern is where your money is being spent. And I'm saying, regardless, your money is going to be spent on caring for this family. So why is it that we're so hung up on invading someone's person, searching their body, if in the end it really doesn't matter in terms of their ability to find work and ability to be productive. If we take this case study that was done in this case is true, that drug users are just as more productive than people who don't use drugs.
Okay, I can accept that. Now, what I'm saying is, if he goes on the job, okay, for instance, if I go on my job and I get hurt, the first thing they're going to do is drug test. So, am I going to say you're invading my
But to me,
privacy
that's different. There becomes some type of suspicion, or at least the need to eliminate any suspicion of drug use, to make sure that whatever caused that accident or whatever resulted in an injury had nothing to do with some type of substance abuse. Here, we don't know. We have no reasonable suspicion to think that someone is using drugs, or to think that their reason for not being able to work is drug related.
So my question is, should we have some sort of suspicion of why welfare recipients want the benefits or need the benefits?
And if we do, say we do have, to me, there's nothing wrong with thinking of solutions to help someone get off the streets or to help someone better improve their situation. But again, this case study showed that drug use was not a major factor. So we've eliminated that. Why are we bringing that back into the forefront if that's not the issue?
Well, I mean, we have to also understand that a case study is done by a small number as well. And depending on the demographics, we don't know where these participants came from. We don't know their background. Maybe they were from all different types of backgrounds, I'm not sure. So you have to just consider that when you're going based on the case study.
Well, listeners, I want to know what you think. Tweet me at Regina_Sun and let me know whether or not you think it is reasonable for this Florida state to search someone's body to do urinalysis or do any type of drug testing in order for them to receive welfare benefits. Again, that is at Regina_Sun, and I really do look forward to hearing what you guys think. Thanks, and that is today's Legal Moment.